We do have a lot of games tonight, and we were just talking before we came on the air about Warriors at Celtics. Dun, 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 dun. No Jaylen Brown in this one, but obviously it's a rematch of the 2022 finals, but more importantly, it's the reunion of an Olympic coach and his protege, Jayson Tatum. It's going to be good. I know, Chandler, you said it best. We're watching this one, and we're watching Tatum.
I'll be dialed into this game all night long. And this is a personal vendetta. This means something more. I know it's November 6th, and this game is kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of things, but this is an opportunity for Jayson Tatum to show the world, show Steve Kerr that he made a mistake, and he's had a great year. And again, at the end of the day, it's just one game against a team in another conference. But this means a lot, and I'd like to see him come out super aggressive. I want to see him take 30-plus shots. You mentioned Jaylen Brown is out, so that gives him even more opportunity. There's no such thing as a bad shot for Jayson Tatum tonight, so I want him to be super aggressive. And at the same time, I think his teammates rally around him, which is funny because his teammates are the ones that played in the Olympics, so it's like they have no beef. But I don't know if we're doing a prop party tonight, but Jayson Tatum over the Celtics.
Well, how about
winning,
if it's 35 or more, is that plus what? I feel like
plus 180, I'm taking that. He should take 30-plus shots, which means he's scoring over 35 points. I'm telling you, he needs to go balls to the wall, and I think he will. I think we see a Jayson Tatum that we haven't seen very often.
He's going for 35 plus. Like Chandler just alluded to, we are petty competitors. Whether you're playing against your old coach, old team, whether you and a guy talking to the same girl, everybody, listen, everybody on the Boston Celtics is in on this get back. Trust me, they're going to feed him that basketball to no end because they seen what we saw this summer with him being disappointed and not getting the minutes. Steve Kerr being the guy that everybody blamed for that. This is going to be a fun night. I'm going to be tuned into this one. If I'm a betting man, 35 plus from Jayson Tatum tonight, especially with Jaylen Brown being out.
Easy money.
And the crazy thing is, though, he's going to have to do it against a great defense. They rank second right now in defense, and you got to imagine Draymond Green is going to start on him. And on the other side, he's going to try and prove that Steve Kerr didn't make a mistake. So as much as the Celtics, Jayson Tatum want to prove something, Draymond Green's also a competitor, and he's going to be trying to shut this water off, which is not going to be an easy task.
You think this will be Dre's matchup, though?
I think he's got to be. I think, again, you know how petty we are, and you know Steve Kerr wants Draymond Green to shut his ass down too. So this game's going to be for a November 6th game, the 7th, 8th game of the year. This is unbelievable that we get this kind of. I'm excited.
This is the first game of the season. I'm actually excited to catch up.
And I don't remember a game where a player and a coach, like like a rivalry, you know what I mean? But this is something where it's so fresh.
Very specific.
It's coming off a career high year championship, and he feels disrespected. He's made that very, very clear. So I think it's going to be fireworks.
But you know what makes this game even better? Because I don't think any of us anywhere in this world had the Warriors at 6-1 to start out the season. So it's also a good game, period, despite all the drama that's in it. And so I ask you guys this, if the Warriors pull this win off, we haven't really talked much about them when we talk about the Western Conference and how we predicted it going out. Where do you put them?
You can put them in a conversation. You know, I think with KLAY Thompson's absence, even though they're playing really good basketball, it's still something there that's just missing. Just doesn't feel complete, without the big three. Obviously what Curry and Draymond has been able to do this season to get those guys going and bringing in Buddy Hield and all of those important pieces to get them back in a competitive position. They're playing really good basketball. Now, is this going to be sustainable? Anytime you have a Steph Curry-led team, you have an opportunity to compete for a championship. They're showing that, but for me personally, it still just feels like something is missing for the long haul.
And again, I mentioned that they alluded that they're the second defensive rating team, but also third in offense. So they're doing it on both sides of the floor. Steve Kerr has said that this is the deepest team, whether that's true or not.
Y'all called him a liar.
Yeah, whether it's true or not, he's getting production from the bench. I love him. We brought Kuminga off the bench early, and that seems to work, so they're knowing the role. Buddy Hield is having a career year. So this team is, I think they're right there, kind of that middle of the pack, 5 to 8 seed. I don't think they're as good as the OKCs, the Minnesota, Dallas, Phoenix, but they are right there kind of in that next group. And this is a huge step for them. It's early, but this is a huge step on the road against the heavy favorites, the team that everyone thinks is just going to run it back and win it this year. This can kind of put them on the map. Okay, like they're not just 6-1. They just beat the best team on the road. This is a big game for them.
I give them more credit than that. Like I said, you got 2 future Hall of Famers still on your roster, right? So I don't put them at that 5 or 6. Like I said, when you get deep into this conversation, when you get deep into the season, let's say Draymond goes out for whatever reason and you got Steph Curry out there with this deep team. do we still feel as confident about them as we do now while they're healthy? If Steph Curry goes out with another ankle injury like he did earlier in the season, do we still feel as confidently about this team? So,
but they did tread water. They did, what, 3-0 when he was out? Like
They did. There's 3-0 of them.
But is that, well, for me, is that a long-term thing?
Yeah.
Is that a sustainable thing? Is that, can you give Buddy Hield that basketball to lead you to more wins like they've done already in the early season? Can you give Jonathan Kuminga that basketball and say, go win us some basketball games? You got to give these guys credit to where they are. I wouldn't put them necessarily in a 5 or 6. I'm just worried about if this is sustainable if they don't have their team collectively there.
And for them to have a chance, they have to be fully healthy. They can't afford a Steph Curry to be out for a month. They need Draymond Green. People look at Draymond Green, he doesn't score, he's averaging 6 points. He is so valuable for this team's entire offense. He's the catalyst on defense, so him healthy is huge. You see the career year that Buddy Hield is having right now, a lot of that is playing with Draymond Green and having that knowledge of how to get him open, how to find him off staggers and pin downs, and they're using him just like they used Klay Thompson, and it's working because of Draymond Green, because of Steph Curry. So I think this team is good, but like Lou said, I just don't think they have enough in this Western Conference to be a real contender.
All right, so you just did it. You did the Buddy Hield, Klay Thompson, same sentence, and that's obviously a very easy thing people are talking about. What is something that you get from Buddy Hield, perhaps, that you didn't get from Klay Thompson?
It's hard to say that because Klay Thompson was
fresh start.
Yeah, it's a new
That's
face,
fair.
something to prove.
Yeah.
Healthy, not coming off an ACL and an Achilles injury, so I think it's a little bit different. But maybe not everyone knew Buddy Hield before the Warriors and playing with this team, but the dude is unbelievable. We were talking back before the show, he already has, more career threes than so many people that you would never guess. So he's been doing this for years. And again, they're using him in this 2-man action. They're bringing him off pin downs and staggers. They're finding him in transition. So they're using him in the kind of very similar role as they did with Klay Thompson, with the 2-man game, with Looney, with Draymond Green. And all the attention is usually on Steph Curry, which gives him even more open looks. And when he's open, he's going to knock it down. He's not forcing. He's not taking bad shots. He's playing within the offense. And he's shooting 50% from 3. I don't know if you can sustain that, but he's been doing this for years. So this isn't a surprise to me.
Just maybe to some, and that's okay. The Celtics clearly are head and shoulders above everyone in the East. But I ask you, Lou, just how wide is that gap?
It's a big gap. And the reason why, this team loves to guard, right? They take pride in sitting down and getting stops. Like when you start talking about teams with their identities, who they are, the Boston Celtics are clear about who they are. They love to guard. They love to sit down and get stops. And then on the other end, we'll bust you up on the offensive end because we got the guns to do it. We got the guys to do it. That's what sets them apart. If you are a guy that you get traded to the Boston Celtics or you come over in free agency, it is clear what you're signing up for. We are a 3-and-D basketball team. It works for us. That's who we are. They have a clear identity. I think that's one of the things, that's one of the things that sets them apart outside of everybody else. They're not trying to figure it out. They're not trying to play a different style of basketball. They have a clear brand of basketball, what works for them, and it helps. What, man?
I'm now not going to look at Chandler for the rest of the show. Chandler, do you have anything you want to add?
It's
Oh, geez.
No? Okay, good. Let's just move on to the
No, listen, I think the Celtics are a landslide favorite. I think last year they kind of had this cakewalk. They had some injuries that really helped them get through, and I think the Knicks are going to figure it out. The Bucks and Sixers, they can't get much worse, right? So I think the gap is pretty big, but I think it's teams are going to figure it. It's so early to tell, but things are going to even out. Then, barring injuries or whatever, I don't think they're going to have as easy as a walk to the finals as they did last year. Although the East it's not as good as we thought.
It is wonky. The East is very, very wonky right now, and it's early. We understand that.